So, welcome back to a channel update with a little bit of Third Age Reforged playing in the background. This is a 3v3 on the grassy plain, which is on the old version of the game and has no really unifying theme, so the chances of it ever really being shown in a proper capacity was somewhat limited, so I figured it would probably serve for some background noise, some visual noise, so to speak, as I go on another one of these rambling odysseys, I suppose. I did intend for this once again to be in a live stream format, but unfortunately the gap in the schedule that I saw means that I was going to be away no matter what transpired. I believe this one will be slated for the very beginning of July, and it's something that I don't think I can put off any longer, really. I was hoping to be able to coincide a bit of a channel shuffle, really, with a change in scenery with regards to my own career and my own current residence, but unfortunately I feel as though, because of how this has been sort of dragging its heels a little bit, I think that really doing the channel reshuffle now is going to be for the best. And there are a few topics that we're going to be talking about here in this update, because I think the context is important before we actually get into the mechanics of how things are going to be changing. In all fairness, it's not as if this is a complete overhaul. In many ways the same structure will still exist, but there will be some caveats to it. So yeah, as with regards to the actual situation itself, for those of you who have watched the last few channel updates that I've been doing, I've been pretty much constantly saying that my personal situation is going to change at some point. You know, I'm going to be moving on from my current role in my career, and a part of the reason why my channel has essentially not changed at all really in the past 2 years with regards to channel size, with regards to the kind of content that I do and all of that sort of thing, it's pretty much been in stasis in those terms for the last 2 years, because that's when I was, you know, introduced to my new role. The reason for that is I have probably one of the worst jobs imaginable for trying to do it and maintain a YouTube channel at the same time, and that's because I'm away intermittently throughout the entire year. A fellow creator, Windy Pops, has also got the same situation really, albeit he's got the more extreme variant where he goes away for longer periods but less often, so when he's back at the very least he can build up a very large backlog, whereas for me it's more intermittent. So it's an interesting experience. I mean, it would be an interesting thing to have a back and forth with him explaining sort of why it is so difficult to do. But it has been the sort of thing I've been able to manage up until this point, but it hasn't really left much room for channel experimentation, it hasn't really left much room for growth, and recently as well, because I have been going away a little bit more, it has highlighted the fact that I'm really not able to engage with the channel in the way that I would like. So I'm not really able to keep up with comments as easily as I would like, I'm not really able to have any live streams anymore, and this video here is a perfect example of that. This would be ideal for a live stream format, and yet I can't do it really, because otherwise I'm going to be away in the time period that I wanted it to release on, and also, even if I were to add in live streams to what I'm doing at the moment, I'm kind of on the edge of how much I can do before the whole YouTube channel and the maintenance of it starts to not become fun, and that's an issue. You know, while I do get money from YouTube, it's not exactly the highest amount, and it's not exactly the sort of amount that I can, you know, say that it's the only reason I'm doing it for. You know, it's, you know, pocket money really, in the grand scheme of things, which is fine, and it's useful, of course, every little helps, but I never want YouTube to be the sort of thing that I'm only doing for money. It's the sort of thing that I want to be doing as a side venture because I enjoy it, and because I feel useful in some capacity to the people that are actually making the content that I'm covering, mainly Reforged, of course, in this case. So yeah, it has to be a balance. Otherwise, I've always said that if it came down to it, and if it was something that I no longer found fun, I would have to stop. And I don't want to do that. So I don't want to push myself too far with regards to this, and then it lose its luster, so to speak. And so that's been really the great conundrum that I've been wrestling with for the past 2 years, really, as I've been doing this job. Now, I am hopeful that very soon that will change completely, and I will not have to go away intermittently in the way that I am at the moment, and that will change matters with regards to the channel. However, I have also decided something else with regards to the content that I produce, and I'm going to be going for a little bit more of a quality over quantity approach, and that may seem a little bit peculiar considering, I do 2 videos a week, which is, fine. But I do 2 videos a week no matter what, even if the quality of the replay or the quality of the video that I produce ends up being a little bit questionable. I often end up pushing it out because I don't have the time to replace that with something else. I think going forward, what I'm going to be doing is being much more selective with regards to the content that I'm actually doing. So we'll talk about replays because that's the vast majority of the content that I do on my channel, and it's also the easiest thing to quantify in this regard. So if the replay is, not of the required quality level that, I think it should be, or if it doesn't have any sort of unified theme, or if it's on a map that we've seen several times in the past and it's just going to go exactly the same way, then unfortunately I will not be covering it, because I think when it comes down to just pushing content out the door like that, I think in the long run it's actually doing more harm than good for my channel. I think less of a good thing is probably going to be better than more of something that's average or mediocre. And so that's my thinking now. Now, with the continued development of the new patch and the previews that I've been doing, and ultimately of course the eventual release of the new patch, that shouldn't really be too much of an issue. But what I will be doing is Saturdays will be a guaranteed release day for a replay. The Wednesday, however, maybe there will be nothing, or maybe there will be another replay, or maybe there will be, especially when the new patch releases, for example, Wednesday would be the day where I would be releasing faction overviews or top 10s, that sort of thing, getting back into that side of it. And then there's more of a sort of dual aspect to the videos that I'm releasing. It's still structured, but I think that is probably for the best for the channel in the long run. It makes things a little bit more manageable for me in the short term as well, where the potential for obviously moving job and moving house/flat is also going to be very much on the cards over the course of the next few months. So that will make things a little bit more easy to manage, I would suggest, as we move forward. So that's going to be really the main takeaway from this update, is we're going to be going for more of a quality over quantity approach with regards to the content that I do. So if the replay that I'm doing, if I realise halfway through that clearly this is not going to work, it's not at the highest level, or if I go into a replay and the theme is all over the place, because ultimately the amount of views do matter, and people's opinions on what I'm doing do matter, and most people want to see themed battles, most people want to see a battle with a story that they can really get their teeth into. And when the factions are all over the place and when they're on a map that doesn't really make sense, I can't really weave that narrative. I'm not that good. So that is the sort of thing that I will be doing in the future. And repeat maps as well. Obviously every now and then, after a few months, we can go back to the same map, but doing it over and over again, obviously Bersagath was the main culprit for that, but there are others as well that we have seen. So we'll be trying to avoid that as best as we can in the future. So that's going to be the situation as we move forward. So there may be a slight reduction in videos overall, but it will only be here and there where there may not be anything on a Wednesday. And in the short term, while I am still going away with my current job, it will make things a little bit easier to manage as well. But I hope that people can understand that going for the quality over quantity approach is the best thing for the channel in the long run, and it means that when I do have a little bit more free time perhaps to invest into the channel and to, once again maybe start up doing a few live streams here and there, which I hope to be able to do later on in the year, it puts me in a far better position when that rolls around to make this change now rather than try and do it all at once later on. So that's why we're doing this a little bit early, I think. So yeah, really, that's the main bulk of what I wanted to talk about in this update. Of course, as we move forward, the new patch stuff will also be taking an increased priority on the channel. Indeed, the last 4 or 5 ones that I've recorded actually have been on the test build. Most of the things that I'm being sent now, because many of the people that send me stuff on the regular have access to the test build and they're part of the testing process. So generally speaking, the new patch stuff is going to be pretty much, I think, 90% at this point of the stuff that we actually put out. There will still be the occasional straggler from the old patch. This replay that you're seeing in the background was part of a whole bunch that Bacon Soup sent me, for example. And there are a few good themed battles on that one that we may very well be seeing in the coming weeks. But for now, that is going to be good. So hopefully, as well, we are getting ever closer to the release of the new patch, and that will be the sort of thing which breathes new life not only into Reforged itself, but also into the channel. Like I said, I am sort of earmarking those Wednesday release slots for the faction overviews and for the top 10s and all of the sorts of things that we can do, regarding the mechanics of the game as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a rambling channel update, as it usually is. It's part of the reason why I want to be able to do these as live streams, to be fair, because it means there can be a little bit of interaction with the live chat, and it's not just me speaking into the void as it is here, and I can sort of gauge a sort of live reaction, I think, regarding the actual messages I'm putting out there. But yeah, I think going into the latter portion of the year, we will see a bit of a renaissance, I think, regarding Reforged, and hopefully regarding the channel as well. But for the time being, we're going to do a little bit of a reshuffle to make things a little bit easier to manage. So yeah, do let me know what you think of this. I think most people should be in favour of quality over quantity, because better replays, if slightly less frequent, I think are going to be better than just pushing out a load of sludge, as it were. Not that I tend to do replays often that are terrible, but I think that there does need to be a certain lower limit on the quality. But yeah, I think enough of this rambling. So do let me know what you think of this overall plan in the comments below. I will be attempting to respond to this one respond to pretty much everyone who leaves a comment on this one as soon as I'm back from the trip away that I will inevitably be on when this one does release. So yeah, and with regards to the ones that are going to be coming up in the immediate future, there is going to be one on the old patch, one of Bacon's soups that he sent me, which is on the old version of Khan Doom, and that may be the last time we see that one. And there are also 2 new patch replays as well that I got from the Womb Raider, 2 maps that he made. So yeah, that will be interesting to see as well, which I believe are 2 themed battles as well. So hopefully that will be the start of the new era, I think, both of those new Womb Raider replays, where both of them will probably come out on the Saturday, and then the Wednesday slot in between them. We'll see. Obviously a lot can change in a month, and that will be about when that slot becomes available, so yeah, going to be interesting to see. So yeah, I hope you found this somewhat informative, and I hope you'll join me, whatever is next.